Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be discussing 3 surprising digestive troubles that can happen during the menopause. Now if you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and hit the bell icon to make sure that you're notified every week of my new videos. So, digestive problems. Can the menopause affect your digestion? Absolutely. It's a really common symptom. A lot of women find that their digestion gets worse for all sorts of various reasons. A lot of it is to do with stress. And for those of you that have been with me for a while, you know that the nervous system is very often engaged as we go through the menopause. It's just part and parcel of the way the hormones are falling and affecting our body generally. And if your nervous system is already under a lot of pressure, it can take very little to tip it over the edge, and that will have a very swift effect on your digestion. It basically stops. So whatever part of your digestive tract the food is sitting in, it will sit there for a lot longer, and that can cause a whole raft of different digestive problems. We know that dehydration is a huge issue in the menopause, and that in itself will affect the digestion. If you think about it, your digestive tract is almost like a huge processing plant, and this needs lots of water to keep it running smoothly. Now, the more sort of common digestive problems in the menopause will be things like constipation, sluggish bowels, bloating and indigestion. But there are 1 or 2 that we've discovered over the years that women are getting that are maybe not quite so common. And very often they will not associate these symptoms with the menopause, and then they end up treating them slightly differently, and sometimes they don't feel any kind of benefit. So, number 1, burping. So this is when you're sitting there, your stomach feels really full, and you just want to let that air out. It can be very embarrassing, especially if you're eating out or you're in the middle of work or something and you just feel the need to burp. The reasons for this, it can be eating too quickly, and these days most of us do, me included. We're in a rush. So instead of sitting down and eating properly, we're probably just eating on the run. You will find too that if you are eating at your desk, if you are eating while watching TV, you tend to sit like this. What that does is that then squashes the stomach. So the stomach can't work properly to break your food down, and as it sits in your stomach, it will start to ferment, hence all the burping. Drinking too much water as well at meals can do this. It will just, again, if there's too much liquid in the stomach when it's trying to digest everything, that will cause fermentation as well. So the tips here: eat slowly, and just relax while you're eating as well. It can make a huge difference. We have a super remedy called Digestion, which can be used for things like indigestion and these types of stomach issues. Number 2 is burning throat. It's sometimes named acid reflux, and the other word for it is GERD, which is, if I can remember, gastroesophageal reflux disease. What's happening here is that there's a valve at the top of the stomach which basically keeps your stomach contents where they should be. If this valve gets weakened, then again, if there's a lot of pressure in the stomach, the acid will start to rise up the esophagus, and that can cause a lot of burning. And for some people, it can rise right up, and that's why they call it burning throat. It's a really horrible one. The only thing I would say here is a lot of it is to do with the digestive tract being affected by falling estrogen. So valves, again, a bit like getting a weak bladder, you can end up with a weak stomach valve. The really important thing here is that if you're getting this burning sensation, please get this checked out by your doctor first. This is one of the more serious digestive diseases from the stomach, and it does need to be checked medically before you start to do anything. If you get everything checked out and you are okay, then we have a lovely remedy called silicol. It's very soothing and healing. It's a great one for all those kind of burning digestive issues, and you just take that in a little bit of water before each meal. A lot of people find that it works really quickly at helping to calm these types of stomach issues up. If you're just getting acid reflux, if you find that it's not too bad, but you're just getting that little bit of acidity, we've got a great remedy called Centurium, which is a stomach balancer. So it will help to balance stomach function, whether you're either producing too much acid or not enough acid. So you don't really need to know the exact details of what's going on in the stomach. It's what's called a bitter, and bitter herbs are fabulous for the digestive tract. They're well worth taking on a regular basis if you're getting these kind of problems. The third symptom is flatulence and wind. This is, again, it's another antisocial one, but if you're getting a lot of it, again, it can be very embarrassing. It's also very uncomfortable, especially if you're out and about, or you're with company and you're trying to hold it all in. So one of the main issues here is that digestion slows down in the menopause, and especially the sort of lower digestive tract. So food can sit there for quite a long time. And again, if stress is involved, everything is going to sit there doing nothing. And this decomposing food in the digestive tract will start to ferment, and that will give off a lot of wind. Unfortunately as well, we know in the menopause that it can be more difficult for your body to digest carbohydrates. So if you have a high carb diet, this can cause a lot of wind and flatulence as well. If you're getting sluggish bowels, if you're getting that kind of, not necessarily constipation, but if you find that you're not going to the toilet as often, then that's all part of this particular problem as well. A nice little tip, if you want to know whether you're sluggish or not, because a lot of people say to me, but I go to the toilet every day, I'm very regular. You can be regular, but you can also be very, very slow, and it's the transit time that's important here. A nice little tip to find out how long it takes food to get from one end to the other is you can either do the sweet corn test. So you have a nice portion of sweet corn. Sweet corn is one of the few foods that tends not to break down in the digestive tract unless you chew it really well. So all you would do is have a portion of sweet corn and then just wait and see how long it takes to pop out the other end. A good swift digestion, you're looking at maybe 24 hours or less. If it ends up being over 30 hours from the time you eat it till the time it's passed, then that's just an indication that things are a little bit slow, and maybe you need to up your sort of vegetable fibre a little bit more here as well. If you're having these bloating and wind problems, we've got a remedy called Yarrow Complex. So this is a nice one. It helps to ease the discomfort of this kind of bloating, cramping and wind. So 3 more surprising digestive problems in the menopause. Generally, what I would say here, these are just going to be a few tips to help your digestion, either improve it or just to keep it going well in the menopause. It's a really important one. If you're bloated, if you are getting constipation, it's holding toxins in the body for that much longer as well, and that can also contribute to things like fatigue, fuzzy headedness, and just feeling not quite right. So improving your digestion generally can have quite a big impact on how you feel day to day. So the general tips: remember to sit well. And for those of us who remember, being told by your parents to sit up at the table and put your elbows down, is a really good idea if you're sitting up. And remember what I said at the beginning, that if you're slouched over, your stomach can't work particularly well. So making sure that you sit up for your meal, chew it really slowly, and a good tip is to try and chew each mouthful 20 times. This is very slow, but it will give you a good idea of how you're supposed to start digesting your food. So sit up, eat slowly, chew well, and the other thing, I'm always going on about lots of water, but eating is the one time when you shouldn't drink a lot, because that will dilute your digestive juices, and that can then contribute to a lot of the digestive problems. So if you feel that you need to eat during a meal, then just a small glassful. It's really interesting now. I mean, I don't drink with my meals, and I find it really hard if I'm actually going out somewhere and you're given a lot of water to eat. It actually feels quite uncomfortable for me. So once you get used to not drinking a lot when you're eating, you might find that that can ease quite a little bit of the stomach discomfort as well. So I hope that these have been helpful tips for you, and I will look forward to seeing you next week for another edition of A. Vogel Talks Menopause.